All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Real Down live on Monday nights. We gave Dan a little break this week, so I brought the smallmouth slayer Brad in. What's up, dude?
What's up, man?
How you been? I know you've been catching smallies and downpours. You got to tell me how that works.
Yeah, dude. So that area that I caught that one in, we were floating through a riffle, and then you know how it like deepens into the slower moving water. I was just casting my whopper plopper into it, and I just saw this huge splash. I looked over at my buddy. I was like, "Did he really hit that?" And then I set the hook. It's like, "Oh yeah, I got a good one."
Dude, that's awesome. Did you post the video yet? I saw the video.
Yeah.
From his perspective.
Yeah, I posted that today.
You did? That was pretty sick. If anybody hadn't seen that, they should go check out wherever you posted it. It's a pretty cool video because it is legit flooding.
Yeah, I was on my Instagram. I didn't even know he was recording.
Well, heck yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on last minute.
No problem.
We're gonna miss Dan. I'm sure he's with us in spirit. We'll see him again next week. But yeah, so we just got some of the hosts on tonight. We're going to talk about tourney fishing from y'all's perspective and how you got in it and everything above. I got some questions for y'all, and we'll just see how goofy this episode gets. So,
hey, so some of these kind of episodes are usually some of the best ones, though. So
yeah, we haven't had a bunch of us on in a while, so I thought it'd be a fun episode. Take a break because there were some big events this weekend, but you know we've been covering all of them, and KBF's been kind of heavy, so I figured we'd give it a break.
Yeah.
But there's the queen. What's up, Susie?
What's up?
Mr. OG. There he is, guys.
Are you in there?
And Noob 2.0, man. What's up, Sean?
What's up? Not much, guys.
What's happening with y'all?
Just sharing the video. If you guys haven't done that, share it up.
Oh, yeah, I got to do that still.
Yeah, I'm really bad at all that. I don't even have my phone in here.
Oh, man.
I'll end up cutting y'all out if I try to do it on the computer. So I trust y'all. Y'all do a good job.
We're doing it.
So what's been up with everybody? Anybody been doing any fishing lately other than Brad?
I've been out a little bit.
Yeah, I fished this weekend twice. Yeah,
You caught some good ones, too.
Yeah.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was out with Jay Randall Saturday evening.
Your lover.
Shh, bro. Why you gotta always share my secrets? Yeah, we did some paddling. It was nice to be in the paddle yak once again, and yeah, we got into some good fish, man. I think we probably caught 20 to 30 a piece. I mean, they weren't huge, but we did get into a couple nice ones, and then
Man, Days getting on the numbers to me is better than the.
Oh, dude, couldn't agree
big
more.
bag.
Couldn't agree more. And we were talking about that at dinner afterwards. It was like, dude, today was an epic day. I don't care if I caught.
Y'all had a date and then dinner.
Well,
Man.
dude,
So
he skipped the movie, bro. I mean, jeez.
I'll take big fish any day over the numbers.
Really?
Really?
Yes. I've had too many days this year where I've caught 20 fish, and they're all small. I'm like, come on, dude.
Well,
Yeah,
some of us aren't on your level. She's.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, that's just a testament to the smallmouth in Ohio being little as crap.
You could flip it around that way.
Yeah, I can see that.
What about you, Noob? How'd the tournament go?
I didn't do a tournament. I was just fun fishing. So
I thought y'all had the Noob tournament.
Yeah. What happened there, bro? What happened
dude.
there, bro?
Month of July spanked me something fierce.
Just got to come back in August swinging, man.
Well, and I screwed up August already. The first fish I put the wrong identifier on, so I fixed it.
Rookie mistake.
This is perfect. This is things to talk about. We're talking about tournament fishing from our perspective.
That's what you get
Sean
when you write out your
into how not
tourney
to.
tag on the tailgate of your truck right before you're getting on the water. I was like, oh, what is it? I think I remember, and I just wrote it. Then totally got called out by one of the other noobs in the noob tournament.
I saw that.
So
That's hilarious.
hey, I earned it, But
Who's the noob killer this month from the hosts?
The queen.
none other the queen herself.
Oh lordy, y'all are screwed.
I already saw a post in there like, geez, Susie, you couldn't let me stay in first place for more than an hour.
I got a kick out of that.
I'm just going to give credit where it's due. Susie did whip up on all of y'all in that.
And I wasn't even on my home waters either. So, I mean, you know.
Who ended up winning last month?
I believe it's Christopher Wins Jansen out of New York, and
Nice.
he was the only one to beat me.
Yeah, you only had one person beat you, so
Save the money. See how that's done, Ryan Milford? Just saying, bro.
I almost got him to come on tonight too, just because Brian was coming, and I just need that in my life right now. Actually, Milford, if you're listening, message me right now. I'll send you the link, and I will add you to this just so I can have a laugh today, because it's been a really bad Monday, and I need that.
I hope he has his red solo cup.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's going to the kitchen to get the solo cup filled up and ready to go now.
Go take a leak before you get on, please.
We still got to make that a short clip to post.
I got it. I got it saved on an external hard drive. I'll find it.
Send it to me. I'll make it.
Well, folks, I promise this is the real down, but we are way off topic, as I knew this would happen, and I'm okay with it. So, kind of a break from the normal thing, but so we were just going to talk
I need it.
yeah, we were just going to talk about tournament fishing from y'all's perspectives, and I wanted to start from the beginning. A lot of people know how y'all got started fishing and stuff because they followed the podcast for so long. But how did you get into tournament fishing? Did you know, like Dan started in bass boats through college and stuff like that? One of y'all can start. Like, how did you start, or what kind of intrigued you to get into tournament fishing from a kayak?
Don't everybody go at once.
Silence. So quiet.
I'll start off, man. So I started off in a little bass boat tournaments. I used to have a little 16-foot aluminum Sylvan bass boat. Started doing some. I forget what they called it, like the Night Owl tournaments. It was a nightly tournament every other Saturday on Lake Geneva, just over the border in Wisconsin. Did that, and then a really good friend of mine who was like one of our first guests on the Paddle and Fin podcast, Scotty Purrs, good friend of mine, got heavy into the walleye tournament scene. So I started fishing some smaller club walleye tournaments with him, and then started the podcast, started learning about the little clubs, KBF, KBL, our local club here. And that really intrigued me.
What's up, Chris?
Actually my first kayak thing was it's like a year-long online event. I forget the name of it. That was the first kind of tournament I ever did. I forget the name of what that is. I don't know. Anyways, and then jumped headfirst into the national scene. Fished that real hard last year, and then this year I just fish whatever, whenever.
How do you remember? Was your first tournament kind of memorable from a kayak, or was it like complete bust? Or
my first live tournament, I remember. So my first live kayak tournament, Susie was the actual judge.
And she threw all your fish out.
She almost beat you to fish, and it's a good learning experience. I was just so amped up in the moment. I had a pretty good day on the water, and as a new to live tournament fishing person, you want to constantly check the leaderboard, and I was doing that, and everybody had a pretty rough day, and I knew I was up there. Last year, like I just strove to be in the top 10, regardless if I was getting a paycheck or whatever. I thought that was a good, doable goal for myself. And I knew I was up there, and on one of my photos, I was using a tourney tag on my catch board, and I had it slid a little too far down close to the tail where it was covering up that next number past the tail. And one of the guys that was running the tournament was Susie, came over and he was like, "Hey, do you have another picture of this fish?" And I was like, "No, why?" And he explained, and like, fortunately for me, if you blew the picture up, that tourney tag was clear enough where you could see that number. So Susie accepted my fish, and
I'll
it
go
was
ahead and
good,
tell
man.
you. that's some of that's on the director, because
Yep.
when I'm like, I judge our local trail stuff since I haven't been able to fish any of the events this year.
Mhm.
And when you've got, 200 photos
Yeah.
to go through,
Yeah.
I'm like, nope,
Yep.
nope, I'm not
Yep.
working for it. I'm like, you should have took a better picture. So
Yeah, I mean,
Susie, you're a great person and I'm not. So good job.
well, and that was the thing too. Like, that's something I'll say too is like if you're at a live event and obviously Susie was there on site judging the photos, and when they approached me, I blew the picture up, realized what I did wrong, and noticed that you could see that. And this was before Susie and I were even friends. I was like, look, like if you blow it up, you can see the number. We talked through it. And it was one of those things. I know Susie was like, okay, all right, I get
It
your
was a tough call. And,
it was.
Yeah, part of it too is, when you upload your photo to Tourney X2, Tourney X will kind of downgrade
Yeah.
the quality of the photo too. So
you can be nice. It butchers the quality. Like,
yeah.
love you, Dwayne, but my God,
Yeah.
I've had I've been holding the guy's phone and it'd be a perfectly acceptable picture. And then
Yes.
you're looking at it on Tourney X and I've already thrown this fish out. Like, why?
Right.
Yeah. And so because I know that, I like to give people, the benefit of the doubt. Hey, I bet you got a better picture on your phone. Send it to me to see if it's clear, through Messenger. And, you had me look at your phone, Brian. I was like, okay, yeah, I can see the 18 on there. So.
Yeah, I mean, so with that being said, it was kind of a bonehead mistake on my part, but at the same time, it was a learning experience. But overall, and I think it's every first tournament of the year for me, like my adrenaline's just jacked, and I'm like, let's go, start of a new year, just want to get out there, catch some fish, do good in a tournament, and
then COVID hits and it all goes down.
Yeah, well, I mean, COVID was already going down, I think, when I fished my first tournament, but Wisconsin wasn't shut down like Illinois was. So I was up in Wisconsin fishing a tournament, and it's I've been through the stress and the wanting to chase down AOI and stuff in the national scene, and then I've been able to sit back and reflect on that, and I kind of got a different viewpoint now, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole we can go down later.
We're going to go down that in a little bit because that's one of the questions I have. Well, Susie, you're big into the tournament fishing, and you usually beat the brakes off everybody around paddle and fin parts. So how'd you get into it?
It kind of was a slow introduction in a sense, because I kind of got into the tournament scene backwards. So my very first tournament was after I bought my new Hobie. I saw that they had a flyer for a kayak fishing tournament. And, sure enough, I was like, yeah, I'll compete. Let's see what this is all about. Got into it, fished and whatnot, and I asked one of the directors later on the season, I was like, hey, can you tell me how tournaments work and whatnot, and how do you run them? And they were just like, well, you can just come on board as staff. And I was like, okay. So basically I was like part of a tournament club, Great Lakes Kayak Fishing Series to start. So I got a behind the scenes feel and experience firsthand instead of the opposite as a competitor. So, whether or not that was a good thing or a bad thing, I think more of a good thing, just because, it gave me that insider look of, okay, this is how you judge photos. This is what you got to take into consideration as far as, permits and safety and all that other stuff. But, it was definitely interesting. But my first season with Great Lakes was kind of my test season, because even though I was staff, I was able to compete in tournaments as well. And so the first couple of events, I had no idea what I was doing, either fishing or being staff. So it was kind of like, juggling two different things at once. There was like, okay, so what do I do with this? Or how do I submit this, type of thing. But, I really enjoyed it and really loved it. And then that next year I was like, okay, I'm thinking about kind of stepping it up a little bit. Let's see what else is out there. I was like, what's it going to hurt? And then I joined Kayak Bass League and competed with both them and Great Lakes. And it probably wasn't until 2017 when I really started getting serious, because that was also my first national championship that I fished at, and got 11th place at. So I was like, okay, maybe I do know what I'm doing. And I was like, well, go big or go home. So
she's been on the rise ever since.
Trying to.
Dude, she's got the record as a woman, highest finishing woman at the national championship.
That's right.
Well, that's an awesome thing to strike by your name.
Well,
are you coming down for the
Susie.
championship this year, Susie?
I don't know about that this year. With everything that's been going on and everything that might be happening, it's just, I don't know yet. It's kind of looking more like no.
I think that there's a lot of people that's.
Yes.
I'm curious to see what the turnout for that event ends up being, because there's a lot of, like, I thought that they saved it, but it looks like that it's gonna. I mean, I'm sure there'll still be a couple hundred people, but I don't know if it's gonna be stacked like they thought.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Adam just found out that he has to take 10 days of furlough up until the end of this year. So that's gonna kind of be a little crappy for us too. So
yeah,
and I had to take 2 weeks of furlough back in April and May. So it's definitely been a challenging year in so many ways.
And I wait for this year to end.
Yes. Yeah.
Come on, January 1st.
All right. Yeah. It's just like, all right, let's just make things new again.
All right. Well, Mr. Noob, how did you get into tournament fishing? And your perspective is the one I want the most, because a lot of, like, so for anybody that doesn't know, I'm hosting the state level Bass Nation events, and most of the questions I've been getting are people surprisingly coming into a higher level event that have never fished a kayak tournament. So that's what kind of gave me this idea, is a lot of these questions coming in and how different people look at things from the outside in. But we'll start with what got you into tournament fishing?
Well, it started out, I went to my local paddle shop and I was talking to the guy about places to go to meet more people, because I was having trouble just, finding people to fish with. And he's like, well, you should just sign up for kayak anglers, and just hit up a couple of the tournaments. And so the first year I signed up and I didn't go to any tournaments. I was like, I'm getting blanked way too often to even try and go to one of these. And so I paid my entry fee for the Kayak Anglers Central PA and never went to any of the tournaments. And then the next year I was like, okay, that was kind of dumb. And I started going to some Hero on the Water events. And a lot of the same guys that do that were also in Kayak Anglers of Central PA. And one of the guys asked me, he's like, I saw your name on the list of anglers and I didn't see you at all. And I says, oh no, I'm not good enough to fish in any tournaments. He's like, that's crazy talk. Just come out, he's like, you can come with me if you want, I'll show you around. So this year, actually my first tournament was the Paddle and Fin Challenge. So that was a little bit eye-opening to do my everything live on the internet. Nothing like trial by fire there, but
welcome to kayak fishing. You're live.
Right.
That's kind of how the podcasting thing for me went. I got 2 shows under my belt, and then Brian was like, "Hey, why don't y'all go live on Mondays?" I was just like, "All right, why not? Let's go."
Jump right in.
Yeah, first.
So I did that. Got skunked a bunch of times on camera, but still had fun. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the Kayak Anglers tournaments this year. Then, of course, COVID hit, and that slowed that way down. But I have done 2 tournaments now. And the guys from Heroes on the Water were cool enough to let me kind of tag along with them and just see how it goes. So I actually finished 8th out of 20th in the first one I did. But it was it's been an interesting experience. But the biggest thing was just getting over the fact that I don't always know what I'm doing, and but any given day you can get lucky or stumble into stuff, and
when you finally accept that, you're just like, I'm just out here.
Yeah.
Right.
That's when I usually have the better days. Like I fall apart. Like I've won a few throwdown events, whatever. That don't mean anything, 15, 20 anglers, means you had a lucky day over that. I do terrible in like live events. Like I think my best tournament finish is like 35th because I think too hard about everything, especially now with Tourney X. I'm like, oh, where am I at? Oh, where am I at? You let it get to your head. So for you to already kind of be like figuring out not to work, just go, just whatever happens, that's great. And you'll use that mindset and develop that into, locking in skills and time on the water. And I can already see it, and everybody else can too. And our like little live chat thing we have, like it seems like you're picking up on it pretty quick, in my opinion, because you've been hooking into some good ones.
Yeah, I've been figuring it out slowly, and to me, that's really why I do it. More for the knowledge and seeing how other people do it right, and just taking everything I can learn from them. I can kind of care less if I win. If it happens, awesome. But I'm totally
take nothing from Milford, and Milford needs to be taking notes.
I think Ryan's come a long way too, man. He's definitely learning too. So,
dude, I love him. I just love picking at him.
To be determined.
Yeah. What about you, Brad? Well, we saved you for last since you're just killing it this year.
I started last year, so I did like 3-person events and did like 3 KBF monthlies last year, but I wasn't real big into it. Actually, this year I'm not that big into it either. I've only done 3 in-person events this year, but it all started because me and 2 of my other buddies, the 2 other buddies of mine, Justin and Zach, they were fishing a Buckeye Trail up here, and Justin actually won a tournament somewhere, and I was like, man, I want to do that. I want to win some money. So then I jumped into our local stuff here. Loveland Canoe and Kayak had a tournament. That was the second one I did last year. I ended up winning that one, but I think I've been hooked ever since.
I mean, yeah, and you're running for Angler of the Year right now too, Susie. I think you're running for Angler of the Year.
Yep.
We got a bunch of sticks in this. I'm just honored to be talking to all you famous people.
I'm just
so
slacking over here.
I'm not a stick though.
Oh, will you stop already? Jesus.
He does the same
saying
thing
nice
about
things.
how he does his Instagram posts too.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, how everybody praises
just
you
ignore
for
it.
your stuff.
Just ignore it. Just keep going.
Dude, I fish against some sticks in our local club. Those guys are the sticks. I'm the guy that's just trying to beat them.
And you've been succeeding.
I mean,
I got like three
names that
this year.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some of the guys in your club, but I know if you're leading AOI, you're over some sticks, Mister. Like
Kurt Smits.
Smits, yeah, that's right. We talked about this the other day.
Yeah.
Who else is in there?
There's one of my good friends, Chad Turner. He's up there all the time. John Graves.
Yeah,
he's pretty good.
Crankbait Johnny.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, Mike Grimsley, man.
Yeah.
That guy, he catches some amazing fish all the time. I'm like, how do you do it? But
so with all y'all, now we kind of see how it all is going. What is y'all's thoughts on these bigger, like so I would say you have like local trails like your entry level. KBF's when you're starting to step outside of that box, and then you got your Hobie and your bass stuff now. Like what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's kind of a good setup for the anglers, all the way up to basically pro level, or is that an expansion you think we don't need to keep, kayak fishing kind of grassroots? What are your thoughts on how big these tournaments have been getting and are going to keep getting? You go, Susie. She looks like she's really thinking over there. I want to hear it.
I am thinking, just because, there's definitely room for improvement with where they can go. I know that, they were definitely trying this year with the bass events, but again, because of COVID, it's kind of put a damper on some of these tournaments. So because things have been canceled or rescheduled or whatever, lots of plans have changed. Life has changed for a lot of people. So, that's kind of put a damper on everything. but I think, you know, we're still gonna have like kind of 3 different groups of anglers. We're gonna have our new tournaments, or our new tournament anglers, you know, who are gonna be part of those, you know, grassroots clubs, maybe a national trail or one night stand or something like that. Then you're gonna kind of have your intermediate people who kind of are doing both their local and their nationwide tournaments. And then you're going to have your pro people who are going to be chasing after these big national events, the Hobie events, the Bass events, KBF events, national championship, you know, because they're going big or going home type of thing, you know. We're not quite at the point where the big events are enough to be like a like for somebody to like make a living off of,
Unless you're Jody Queen,
yeah, or
Cody Milton.
Cody Milton, or Russ Snyders, you know, those big. I mean, my God,
Russ is living the dream. Shout out Russ, man.
Jesus. I know. So yeah, people like that who just can go out there and like win all these events and everything. Just like it's amazing. Like it is amazing. I mean, yeah, and you know, with people like that, they can get sponsors to help them out and everything. But, you know, still you see those payouts and then the entry fees, and then you got to think about everything else. It's just like, it's not quite at that level yet. You know, I mean, we aren't going to be at the bass boat level, you know, in next year or the next 5 years, maybe. But after that, you know, I think we could start getting big. And one person who is definitely going to be helping with that is Mike Iaconelli, because he signed up for the Susquehanna event. So, and he's been promoting the crap out of it too.
Yeah.
Who is that guy?
Well, he did that last year too, didn't he? He fished a Hobie event.
Yeah.
And he holds a kayak tournament every year, doesn't he?
He does like the charity thing, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
But I mean, you know, it's great to see, you know, a big person like that, you know, trying to help promote the kayak fishing industry in a sense.
Oh yeah. You know, and then you got Jordan Lee, you know, he's a native guy.
They'd be a good OG show guest.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Iaconelli, heck
man.
yeah.
Heck yeah, man.
Talk about kayaks.
I think I know some people that
Get on there, Brian.
That's funny.
Scott Butcher in the
What's
house.
up, Scott?
Hey, where the hell is that guy? Where you go from
Dude.
2 shows a week, live stream tournaments, and then just
Ghost.
disappears.
I miss his shows, dude. I legit like I go and look
Yeah.
on Apple to see if they're uploaded, and they're not there. I'm like, oh, man, come on.
Biggest
I have a small piece of my life missing now, Scott. Come back.
yeah, biggest disappointment in my kayak fishing career. Future retires.
But at the same time, thank you for getting out of the way. So paddle and fish. Love you, Scott.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh man. Oh, here's a good one. Something I was gonna ask, but my buddy Chris dialed it in. Who's got a funny like tournament story? I'm sure everybody has one.
I got a funny video I could share you guys, but I'm not going to show it on here.
Oh,
It's inappropriate.
you want to talk about take it up and throw it away? Thanks.
I'm
brother. I gotta
I'm
tell you.
always referred to as the guy that dropped his phone in the water on tournament
yeah.
day because of that interview I did with Hoover at the KBF FLW Open.
Oh, dude,
Oh,
I forgot
yeah.
about that.
That wasn't funny to me, but it was very humorous to everyone else. Yeah, always wear a tether on your phone.
Yep.
Dude, my luck's so bad. I've had my phone pop out of my tether.
I've heard that about certain ones.
I don't
Yeah.
know if it's the tether or just like, I mean, you know, you get in a rush and I'm like snatching it out of my PFD, and the next thing I know,
Yeah.
it comes up. Tether goes this way, phone goes that way. I'm like, not again.
Yeah. The one that Brian has, you got to get that one,
You're
dude.
never lost.
Yeah. That's
Never
legit.
lost.
You don't need the one that goes over your case or
Yeah.
whatever. This goes like inside the case. So it's not coming off in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I'll still screw it up somehow. I could mess up a steel ball with a rubber hammer. But yeah, well, Sean, what's your thoughts on on the bigger events. Do you see yourself going that way?
Maybe I can, I'm going to have to get a lot better, but just speaking of the one on the Susquehanna, I think Brad said, he's like, you should just go down just to meet people, and I was like, that might happen. Cause, that's what I really want to do. If I can find someone to come on our show, that's the kind of thing I want to do. I just want to go meet these people, learn all I can.
Amen, Scott. Amen.
But anything I think that can, get anybody else into the sport, if they can make it to a Hobie event where they couldn't make it to a KBF event, then, more power to them. The more options, the better, in my opinion,
No, and that's what like Brad talking about with like Ike getting in. The more names you see like that, it's going to bring those that are like the old school following those guys, and they're like, oh, what's this dude doing getting in a pedal boat? And then, man, there were 100 people at that event, and the winner took away $7,000, blah blah blah. That, oh, maybe I can go make money, and then the sport just continues to expand, and it's what some people want to see happen right now.
I mean, it's good. It's good for the sport. It's good for the people who are doing well in the sport because it gets their name out there more. Anytime you win something big, your name's going to be out there a little bit more than it was prior. So I think, it's going to be good all around.
Yeah. And like Susie touched on, with Bass trying to get into it this year and stretch their legs, and then COVID happened. Like the first Bass event really showed what could happen to expand it with the media coverage of that event, rolling around in bass boats, seeing the like thousands of photos that Scott took of that event on the Bassmaster website with their little brand up, and you see a picture of you're like, man, I'm something special. And then you finish 150 something. So,
it's, this is something that I get asked all the time, and I try to refrain from even speaking about it, but it's like, I think all of us here could agree that first bass event at the Classic, the way it was treated, it almost treated kayak fishing like a joke, the way that weigh-in went down.
Yep.
And I think that, and I've heard different people talk about it, and it's, we need to be taken seriously. I saw a comment in here, I forget who it is, but he said he saw a little bass club tournament and he outfished all those guys. That's the thing. You could put, like the names you were mentioning before, Jody Queen, Cody Milton, Josh Stewart, Kurt Smits. You could put all those guys in a bass boat, and I guarantee you they could compete with all those guys on that level, right? It's hard to say. I think obviously the more exposure and as many different avenues we get, the better off we're going to be, whether it be Bass, KBF, Hobie, small club tournaments, monthly tournaments. I've seen it just in the Paddle and Fin Noobs tournament that we do. Guys find it and they're like, hey man, I'm doing this thing. And they get their buddy who's got a cheap Pelican kayak, or, maybe they just go out for fun. And next thing you know, 3 of their buddies are signing up for a tournament, and then they're fishing the KBF monthly. And the next thing you know, they're fishing, a trail event or a Hobie Bass Open event, or fishing your bass event down there. So it's, it's one of those things, but like Susie touched on before, right now in the kayak space, yes, if you make it to, for say, the KBF National Championship and you win that, that's life-changing money, sure. But 98% of those tournaments, you are not going to survive on the road. And that's the thing too. If you look at the guys that are really making it in our sport now, they don't have the normal stresses in life like we all have. A lot of those guys have other forms of income coming on. They don't have restrictions of jobs and things like that. So when you're on the water fishing a tournament, you're thinking about what's going on back home, things like that. These guys don't have those worries most of the time. So, I mean, that's the thing too, man. You gotta put that into consideration. It's either if you want to make it to that level, you're throwing everything in the hat and not worrying about the rest of things. You're gonna go there. You're gonna do great things, guarantee it. But until we get to that exposure, I think on a grander scale, don't get me wrong, Chad Hoover, KBF, done huge things. What AJ and Hobie are doing,
Great things.
great things. What Bass has stepped up and tried to do so far, it's good. Like you said, we got the exposure. I think it just needs to be treated a lot better than it was.
And that's, and not saying, I understand what you're saying. A lot of people feel that. Something I know, because I'm a Bass Nation person, state level, and I'm, communicate with
Sure.
the heads of the national scene regularly. I know that was something like you're talking about the weigh-in. We all, like, I was standing there watching it and was like, my God, this is a nightmare.
Yeah.
They did not ask for that guy to do it. They wanted the same person. They were all thrown that last minute. And that they literally brought someone in that knows nothing about it, cares nothing about it, didn't want to be there in the first place. And that's things that's going to change. And there's, something I've saw, and like if you were at the meeting, the captain's meeting for the Logan Martin event, the first one, when they had the head guys from Bassmaster there, they are 100% invested in it, and they know it's a good move. It's just I hope that they make it through this year with all of the setbacks.
Right. Well, and let's face it, right? Like KBF's first year wasn't great. Every year there's a hiccup. Same thing with Hobie. Obviously with Bass. All we got to do is continue to learn from those mistakes or whatever else and just keep steaming forward. I think I wouldn't say a lot of folks, but there are a few folks out there that focus on all the mishaps and they're stuck on it, and instead of looking forward and trying to progress, they're living in the past. And I think that really holds us back as well. You know what I mean? Like, obviously we all here, try to do what we can to grow the sport in any freaking way possible, whether you're fishing a tournament or just getting on the water.
Yeah.
But I think with everything that happened with COVID, if we finally get back to normal life and everything gets opened back up and we don't have to worry about all this garbage, I think next year you're going to see a huge boom in kayak tournaments. Kayak tournaments or kayak shops across the nation are sold out of kayaks. Manufacturers are sold out of kayaks. And it's just been this spitball effect. So you got a lot of people that are going to fall in love with kayak fishing this year. They're going to find KBF, Hobie, Bass, local clubs, online tournaments, things like that. I mean, let's face it, everybody's got a competitive edge.
You can like, from our standpoint, from like me and Dan doing the reel down and covering tournaments.
Yeah.
If you look at the local clubs, the consistency of more anglers they're having now, clubs you've never heard of having 60 and 70 guys. Bass right now, first year, everything going on, 100 people in every event.
Yeah.
They were talking about it over on KBN earlier that, I mean, they're doing something right if 100 people plus still showing up.
Yeah.
Local clubs are getting close to touching those numbers. Yeah. So,
well, look at IKA. We talked to Matt Gibson, one of the tournament directors over there, Indiana Kayak Anglers, last Thursday. And I think it was something like 78, average of 78 or 79 anglers per event through the season, through 4 or 5 events. I mean, that's Indiana.
Yeah, we had.
No offense, Indiana. So.
I'm trying to remember what.
Oh, you're going to hear that.
I was trying to remember what club it was we had on, but they were talking about how fast they went in their first year from, 15 to 20. And then next thing they know, they had 65 people and didn't even know what do I do with all these?
Yeah, right.
I hope that all these big tournaments, AJ, Bass, Chad, and everybody is paying attention to, and obviously they are at some part, kayaks being sold out everywhere should make you be thinking about next year and the year after even harder, because it's going to explode, just like you said.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think next year is going to be insane for
Yeah.
kayak fishing.
And I mean, you look at even the big tackle shops and even your local tackle shops, like look at the shelves.
Yep.
They're empty.
Yeah, come on, Academy. I'm not coming back up there until you get some stuff back on the shelf.
People have been forced to set this down and go outside.
Yep.
You can only take so much of this before
I
you
love
lose
it.
your mind.
And I hate it.
Yeah. Well, I agree.
Get out of my
But
fishing spots.
at the same time, man, it's like I'd much rather see hundreds of people outdoors than,
Yep.
you know, and
Board warriors.
not only that, but dads showing their kids how to fish. You know, moms out there enjoying it. Boyfriends and girlfriends out paddling around on the lake or hiking down a path, something like that, man. I mean, you know, especially the dads getting out with their kids, man. I mean, that's just building up future generations.
And that's been something big this year I've noticed is like me being in the Frontier 12, you know, everybody wants that boat because you can handle 2 people in it.
Yep.
And I've seen so many pictures of, you know, like families of 4 going out in an F12 and tandem still freeze. And
Sunday morning, man, I went fishing with the Godfather, and his son got up at 5 a.m., went out with us, and he's 13 now. You know, most 13-year-olds are like, ugh.
that's something that, you know, our North Alabama club has, you know, our big sponsors for that club would tell you that they're in it because of our youth trail.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I hope more local clubs start to do that all across the country.
Sure.
We usually have, it's probably 15 to 20 kids and parents. It's always, you know, real family friendly, and it's so cool to watch them go out. And kids, like my buddy Blake took his son this year. I think his son's 5, you know, and he's not all about the get up early and it's cold outside and it's raining.
Right.
But then you get him on a fish and it's
Mhm.
lights out, totally different.
Yeah.
Like, oh, time to fish. And then like one of the events we do on a little moving water down here during the summer, the kids will, you know, they start fishing and they're pretty serious and it gets really hot and then everybody's swimming. But
Yeah.
there'll be that one kid still fishing. He hooks a fish, everybody's back in the boat and it's game on. And that's kids from 5 to, I think we cut it at 16.
Nice.
And it's that's something we see all this growth in the sport. More of these clubs need to pick up a youth trail, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally agree, man. Well, you know, you see it now with the high school bass tournaments, you know, like what I would have gave to have that when I was in high school.
I
Like,
know.
Heck
I
yeah.
mean, that would have been life changing.
But I say that, but none of us could have afforded a boat, so we'd be in the majority of these schools that are struggling.
Well, a lot of those are donated or parents, you know, help out, things like that. You know,
Yeah.
it's cool. But now, with that being said, kayaks a lot cheaper, a lot more affordable, easier for those younger kids to get into it. And one thing, like, I won't go on a tangent, but you know, if you see somebody new out there making a mistake, talk to them, teach them.
I love this hashtag.
I was talking to somebody the other just this weekend, you know, like we have this huge boom going on right now, right? And the next step is to teach them the right things, wearing a PFD, you know, proper etiquette, things of that nature, you know. Otherwise, it's going to be frustrating, like you're talking about, Jimmy, when there's people everywhere, they're not wearing PFDs, they're fishing right on top of you, things like that. Like, we all, as you know, a community, need to step up and teach these new folks the right way to do things. Because the last thing I want to do is get 8 million texts next year about how 5,000 people drowned because they didn't have a PFD on their body, or it was in the back of their boat, or in the back seat of their car, or whatever else. That's our responsibility as kayak anglers in a kayak community. I think we all need to step up and do.
You're definitely seeing it. I don't want to say I'm seeing it. I feel like I'm seeing less when I'm seeing guys and gals in kayaks. Most of the time I'm seeing them in PFDs. You still, you know, you go to a big like recreational spot, you'll see a lot of it the opposite way. But and then like you talking about, getting frustrated and people fishing on you and just bad etiquette. I feel like kayak fishing has a lot less of. I mean, I know there's there's bad fish everywhere, but I don't know what it is. It seems like when you get into kayak fishing, you just bring out the better part of these people. Because I don't know if it's because they can't run their mouth and get away from you.
Sure.
Like hold you honest, but I don't know. That just the whole kayaking community is just so much overall better than. I mean, I'm not shouting out nothing bad to the boat world. It's just we've all been in boat tournaments or had bad encounters with boaters. Not even in a kayak, in a boat.
Sure.
Like you just don't see that as much. So that's something good. Whose spouse is tired of hearing about bass fishing as we get out more this year? Not mine.
I mean, my wife just ignores me anyway, so I'm sure she hasn't heard anything about it.
My wife's getting thrown into it hardcore this weekend when she comes and helps with that Bass Nation event. So,
oh yeah,
that might be the beginning and end of that all in one.
Yeah. Better get a lawyer lined up, bro.
Hopefully it ain't that bad.
Yeah.
I'm already stressing about this enough. I haven't ever held an event like this before. So
who changed the locks?
Yeah.
I swear this was my house. Like, what happened?
I wouldn't even have that reaction. I'd just be like, oh, well.
Why are all my clothes in the front yard? I don't get it.
I wouldn't even
Where's my
stop, bro. I would
cord?
just drive by.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny.
Well, yeah, it's cool to see where it's going and where it came from, and who knows what it's going to be like in 5 years. But I definitely don't think it's going to fizzle out.
No,
5 years from now, I
We'll-
think
we'll
Sean's
see.
going to be like winning the NC.
There you go.
Yeah, and we'll definitely see, competition between the bigger clubs. Like, okay, who's going to be the better, national trail to go with this year, type of thing. But I mean, and some people can look at it that way, and other people are just going to be like, hey, that's just more events for me to fish and try to win money, But I mean, right now, I feel like, there's kind of this like, and not necessarily in a bad way, like, Hobie's really trying to step up and go all over the place, and KBF's trying some different things too. It's just like, who's going to come out with the better thing, and I don't think there really is like, a better, who's going to be the best of them all. But, I think it's just going to be more about who's going to give the best opportunities and payouts to the anglers, and who's going to have, the most variety for them.
Well, I think you will eventually see, and not like intentionally. I think they will work out where you'll have where one is considered like this is pro level, and this is for your very serious, just road traveling national angler, and then this is for people that just kind of get outside of the local a little bit. I think you'll start to see that, and it's great to see that. As good as they can, they're working together now as much as they can. I mean, I know there's probably heads bumping behind the scenes and stuff like that, but it doesn't seem like any one group is trying to put the other one down.
No,
it stays that way. Like you were saying, for me, it's just like for me when I wanted, like this year was supposed to be the year I stepped up on the national trail, not stepped up and like made a name for myself, but I was going to use it as a way to check off, places I've wanted to fish across the country.
Sure.
I could go do it for free, but if I do it and pay for it, then it kind of like, I don't know. It's different for me. Like it kind of makes me like stick to it. Like, okay, I'm committed to go here and fish this lake and do good, which doesn't happen. But
I think it's interesting, man. Like you're getting more opportunities now with the three bigger names involved. But look at some of the alternatives that have popped up, all stemming off this coronavirus. Kayak Bass Bracket Tour, what Butcher did with the 5 Live. So you're seeing some different stuff, and it's unique, and it's not stuff that you've seen in play in the fishing world in general. I mean, you could kind of say that what Scott did with the 5 Live, similar to MLF, but not necessarily the same, with it being, broadcasted live. But in the kayak space, first one to do it for sure. But not only that, but putting the pressure on those anglers that they have to perform in a 2-hour window. That's huge. That's super stressful. I mean, we all know we tried to perform in a 4-hour window, and that wasn't easy.
I'm so glad I dodged that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's one of those things, man. You got a lot of different things popping up. Like Kayak Bass Bracket Tour is been making waves, and they're doing different stuff. Like they got a team bracket going now, and they're just changing it up. And you don't have to travel 8 hours away from home to fish it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of a unique concept as well. So the opportunities are endless now.
Do you, while you're talking about this, do you think there is a too many, like too crowded is the way it would mean?
I was one of the first people to question that when Bass was kind of announced and Hobie, stepped up last year and KBF doing their thing, and I was up at the trail championship for KBF, and I was in a room full of guys with Sam Jones, and I asked him that question. And the question was more, do you think this is going to hinder participant numbers? Have you seen that? Not necessarily. Numbers are about the same. They're all averaging the same, whether it be Hobie or KBF or whatever. I mean, some areas are down, but a lot of that has to do with travel restrictions. People aren't traveling right now.
Yep.
Like look at everybody talking recently. Who's going to La Crosse? I don't know if I want to drive up there. Like Dustin Nichols, man. He's like, I got the time off, but do I really want to travel that far? And he just got over having the coronavirus. You know what I mean?
That's honestly why I figured he was going.
Yeah.
I figured that
he's immune now.
Yeah.
But, it's
I'm going
it's one of those things, man. It's hard to say, it's is there such thing as too much? I don't think so. I think the more opportunities you throw at anglers, the better off it's going to be. I think what you need more of is those 3 big clubs working together and not just constantly butting heads.
Totally agree.
It's like if you guys work together, your turnouts would be that much more because all the guys that are road warriors are going to show up to every single event. But when you guys are overlapping events, which I get it, like it doesn't always work out, right? These guys just need to work better, and it's never going to be 100%. But at the same time, the more they work together, the better off they're all going to be. They need to take their egos and set them aside and just sit down and do it for the better good of the community.
And remember what it's all about.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you guys are listening, you should all sit down over coffee. Not overlap it in.
Well,
and that, that's the thing too, that's hard to do because being a national trail or event series, you're going to have events going on one side of the nation and then other ones going on the other side of the nation. So it's like, okay, do you overlap because you want opportunities on both sides of the country, or do you not because you want to have those options for everybody to fish, but then you leave out having the options for everybody to fish, you know, in a sense. So,
that's definitely a headache. This is mostly me just, talking out my rear. I know just on the state level, I've got to set up 4 events for our club and not lash with 5 other local clubs in one state.
Well, see, that's a great point. I remember Butcher did a show towards the beginning of the year, and he held up a calendar, and it was for Georgia. And he's like, bro, there's 14 clubs or 11 different clubs on this calendar or whatever, just in my state alone. And a lot of those clubs were spurred off of, well, I don't like this guy and how he runs his thing, so we're going to go run this thing. And, it just spirals down, let's face it, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. But, at the end of the day, instead of 11 clubs having an average of 30, 40 anglers, you have 4 clubs that are averaging 100 anglers. I mean,
Right.
It just makes sense. The payouts are going to be better. The participation is going to be better. Eventually, you're going to have people traveling in from out of state because you're having such great turnouts and such good payouts. I mean, common sense, boys and girls, like just get it together. You know what I mean? And it's the same way on a national level. Instead of, whose wang is bigger, work together and you're all going to have big wangs. Sorry, my reference there, boys and girls, but like
it's true.
Yeah, realize
that's
that
what it
helping
boils
each
down
other
to.
helps yourself, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
And Jimmy, Luana just chimed in too. She says smaller events too. We are traveling further to a club that is more welcoming and has better experience. I gotta say big kudos to that because having been at so many different tournaments and trail series and stuff like that, there is a difference with some clubs and some of the events that you go to. There's just this atmosphere that as soon as you walk into the group of people, it's just like, this is the best thing ever. These people are awesome. And then sometimes you're just like, I feel really awkward right now, or, nobody really gives a beep about me, type of thing. I mean, I've been on every aspect of that, and I can definitely say, and sometimes you can't figure out how or what creates that, but it's a lot of the club staff and the kayak community themselves too, and how they are as a group as a whole. They just have this stigma with everybody around them, and you just can't help but want to be a part of that. And then other times you just have these situations, or some members that are just kind of like, they kind of ruffle feathers a little bit the wrong way. And you're just kind of like, I don't really care for this very much, So I can totally agree to that 100%.
Oh yeah, we've been lucky in our state. Alabama, we've got, I think it's 5 recognized clubs.
Wow.
That we have there's a state board, and North Alabama is the biggest club. Can't give you the true reason why, obviously, because probably we're on the Tennessee River and we fish lakes people want to fish.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that atmosphere, like you're talking about, it's super welcoming. But it's that way through all of ours. So I haven't experienced one of those bad ones. Or not even, it's not really bad. It's just like you said, and it's kind of awkward. The atmosphere is not just like you're saying welcoming. It's, well, why did I come here?
Yeah, it's kind of different, and just sometimes it's hard to explain, and being a woman too, in a very male dominated sport, sometimes that can make or break for women wanting to kind of join and get into this, and these days when it comes to women, if you don't have the looks or anything like that, people are going to treat you pretty bad right off the start. I mean, I got lucky in that sense, where everybody was like, yeah, come on, let's fish and everything, so, but, I wasn't going to let that stop me anyway, but, it's still one of those things where, when somebody treats you as a person and is asking you how your fishing day went and everything, and not even caring who you are or how you fished or anything like that, just simple things like that is just like, wow, they actually asked me how I did. Like, I didn't even do that good, and they're making me feel included and feel welcomed, I mean, that can just, make so much of a difference.
And you talking about like that on like the national level with work together and don't butt heads and, make it better for everybody. It makes it better for you. When you're there in person, it seems like all the I can't think of a better term, bullshit goes away. Because when you're there, that's the atmosphere.
Yep.
It's not the, oh, did you hear who did this and who did that? It's everybody's cutting up, talking about fishing, giving each other information. Go fish here. I tried this. Let's go fish after that. Which event are you going to next? Like it's so welcoming. If that if that mentality and positive like vibe went through the whole thing at all times, dude, kayak fishing would wipe bass boat fishing off.
When that comment came out when asked about the fun experiences, it kind of made me think about that, and I've heard stories about that. I've heard that's where the camaraderie comes in, that makes our sport special. And I feel like COVID has kind of robbed us a little bit of that.
Yeah.
The few events that I've gotten to do,
Yep.
they don't have that weigh-in anymore like they did, and everybody's like, oh, all the comments are like, I miss the weigh-in, I miss everybody getting together afterwards. So hopefully when everything can get back to normal, that is something that returns and is just as strong.
Something that can be said too, I noticed this. So at the Logan Martin event for the Bass Nation event, there were people there, local for the city that just had nothing to do with kayaking. They just came to the weigh-in, and then they were talking at the end of it. They're like, "Man, this is awesome."
Yeah,
like there were just like 60-year-old men that probably out there in their little 10-horse John boat. Yeah. It's like, man, I need to get a kayak. Y'all, y'all make it. Like one guy said it. He was like, "Man, I want to get out in a boat right now with y'all and go fishing." That. Yeah. You don't get that anywhere else, for real, man.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But I feel you, Sean, man. I miss all the live stuff too. When we did one of our youth, we did like a COVID youth event where we were all live again, and you see all those people, and you're just like, God, I've missed y'all.
Right. Yeah. And it's definitely been felt, online too, because when the whole COVID thing started happening in March, I know that there was a lot of, anger and frustration on a lot of the different forums and everything, especially when some big things were happening early on, but I think it's also part of because people aren't able to see each other, and talk it out and, see how each other is doing. Because there's one thing to sit behind the keyboard and type out your frustrations, but like you can't really read the emotion that somebody's putting off, and it's gonna get easy to get heads rolling and everything. Where it's just like, all right, we just need to get in a big group, get together, and just go fish and be like, man, why are we even mad at each other for stupid stuff we said online?
Right,
it's just,
right.
Yeah.
And if that don't work, just do it old school. Meet up, get out some gloves. Handle your business.
Flagpole, 3:00.
Right. But yeah, I definitely agree. COVID has definitely stolen, a lot of the camaraderie away from, these bigger events. If you can get together with people, in like a house rental or something, do it, within, safe means and everything. Because the more people you can kind of talk to and everything, it's just going to help, for your sanity's sake as well too.
I did a lot of this when we all got locked down, everybody was stir crazy. Exactly. A lot of that is what this is.
You crave human interaction, right?
Yeah. And then when your lakes get closed too, like that'll really test your sanity.
I'm so glad I didn't have that problem.
Oh my God.
Poor Susie's husband.
Yeah.
Every time that he gets brought up, I just wait for his face to like pop in the background. And
Adam, they're talking about you again.
Adam just got let out of the closet a couple weeks ago. Susie had him tied up because he said he was tired of hearing about the lake being closed.
If I hear about Banner Marsh being closed one more time.
Poor Adam.
Well, folks, I've kept y'all on here for an hour, and we could talk about this all night because this is something that just you can go in as far as you want. So, like, I didn't even hit half the questions I wanted to hit, but we hit important parts, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, for sure, man.
But y'all want to stay on while I talk tournaments, or y'all need to get to bed?
I don't care.
I'm here, bro.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm just going to run into the tournaments because there were some big tournaments. Had one really crazy one with one guy, Mr. Ken Wood. I know a lot of people know. But we'll start off with the Iowa Kayak Anglers. They were on Brush Creek with 35 anglers. Jonas Ames got first with 86.5. Joe Bailey second with 78. Mike Schmidt third with 66.5. The KBF Trail on Lake Hartwell and Keowee, maybe. Keowee. I don't know. I can't say that one. 51 anglers on day one. Miss Christine Fisher with the win, 91 inches. I see you down there, Susie.
That's right.
I lost it. Second place was Natuli, 90 and a quarter. Third place, Lyle Brandon with 86. Day two winner was Jason Patterson with 87 and 3/4. Jason Broach was second with 83 and 3/4. Third place, Reese Melvin with 70 and a half. So, good job for KBF. They're keeping the people rolling into that one, and congrats to the winners. KBF Trail on the Charles River, 50 anglers on day one. Jonathan Richardson, 85 and 3/4, took that win. Ken Wood, second place with 84, and Tyler Sweet, third place with 83 and a half. Now, the Massachusetts Kayak Bassin, Ken Wood's their director. They had an event coinciding with that KBF on day one. He won that event with 84 inches. Dominic Eno came in second with 82 and a quarter. Stephen Scott, third place with 80 and a quarter. Then day two of the KBF Trail, Ken Wood again, with this time with the win in the KBF with 92 and a half. So he cashed all sorts of checks this weekend. So that dude needs to go buy some lottery tickets or something. Good job, Ken. Second place to Justin LaCase, 84 and a quarter. Third to Mr. Derek Brundle, new canoe teammate. Shout out, dude. Good job, 84 inches. The Michigan Kayak Trail was on Gull Lake with 38 anglers. Brett Marsh took the win on that one, 87 and 3/4. Second to Travis Terry with 83. Third place, Thomas Mullins, 79 and a half. Two more Oklahoma kayak anglers on Lake McMurtry, 54 anglers. First place, Jason Ray with 91. Second place, Chris Metcalf, 83 and 3/4. Third place, Jeff Herr with 83. Congrats to those guys. KBF Trail on Caddo Lake and Red River, where the NC was at last year, right? I think that was, yeah. Cody Milton, of course, taking first on that one, 93 and 3/4. The dude, if the dude's in the event, go home. He's going to take your money. Shout out, Cody. Love you, man. Second, Adam Patron, 91 and a quarter. Third place, Mr. Dwayne Taff with 90 and a half. Good job. Day two, Adam Patron takes the win on that one with 87 and a half. So he got him a couple checks this weekend. Second place, Garrett Morgan, 87 and a quarter. And third place to Jeff Isham with 86. So congrats, guys. And I'm sure we'll have some of these winners on here next week. I think we got a Hobie coming up. The Susquehanna event's next weekend, I'm pretty sure. I want to see Sean's name at the head of that one.
You better be at the top, bro.
Bro,
yeah.
You can say you beat Ike, man.
Dude,
Yeah.
if your name
beat
is
Ike, bro.
Yeah. If your name's at the top, we'll rename it like Bass Fishing with Sean Lavery.
That's right.
And we'll fire Milford. or we'll give him his own segment, Bass Fishing for Losers. I mean,
Yeah, I sent him the link. I'm so mad he didn't get on with us.
yeah,
After
Go
hours
figure.
coming soon, folks.
Ryan Milford, always a disappointment. Just saying.
The poor guy's not even here to defend himself.
I know. He'll get me back. He'll get me
I was
back.
gonna say,
It's fair
he'll
game.
come back.
He's gonna
It's
have
fair
there's gonna be
game.
a Bass Fishing for Noobs episode that's just called "F You, Brian Show."
It's already.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for everybody tuning in. We'll be live again next Monday at 8. Hopefully, Mr. Dan will be back. I hope he didn't use this as his way to sneak out for good.
No.
No, DP will be back. But thanks, everybody, and we'll catch you again next week. I'll say it. Wear your pants.
Peace.
Later.
So yeah.